Welcome back to another episode of Pedal PV, a project of the Palos Verdes Library District Local History Center to bring community history out to you during these pandemic times. Those pandemic times might be a little bit over. I'm up for my second shot here in a week. So one of the defining features of the peninsula is its open space. Sometimes by design, sometimes by disaster, and sometimes because local concerned citizens want to maintain the open space. Let's take a look. Back in the 1920s, city planning, then a profession just getting started, was largely concerned with the terrible issues of city overcrowding, congestion, poor ventilation and construction, and inadequate parks and playgrounds. With this in mind, landscape architect Frederick Law Olmsted Jr., son of the greatest park designer of all time, and Charles Cheney, dubbed Mr. City Planning, set out to create an ideal garden suburb with all the advantages of a city in the country. This eventually became the city of Palos Verdes Estates. From the start, 800 acres, or 25% of PVE's land, was set aside for parklands. And with protective restrictions to preserve the parklands and the views, the peninsula's love and appreciation for open space was set. Canyons and hillsides not suitable for home sites were used for open space, like my favorite climb here on Via Carrillo. You can go straight up the hillside on foot to Marola Hill. Biking the 3 switchbacks to Via Coronel is well worth it for this magnificent view. Cheney said recreational areas were needed for nerve-wracked, city-strained men, women, and children. He also said cities needed beauty spots for the restful recreation of both old and young. I hear you, Charles. Now, sometimes open space gets created from disasters, like this spot at Bluff Cove along PV Drive West. You'd never know it, but there used to be houses here. In the 1980s, a faulty drain pipe and lots of water undermined the area and eventually made the houses here uninhabitable. In 2015, the city of PVE tore down the remnants of these houses and turned it into one of the most beautiful spots along PV Drive West. You can't talk about open space and disaster without mentioning the landslides in what is now the city of RPV. With cut and fill operations used to bring Crenshaw Boulevard over the hill to meet with PV Drive South in 1956, an ancient landslide was reactivated and the land started to slip. That put an end to the road, and with unstable land, the county stopped issuing building permits. The LA Times reported that from 1978 to 1984, each year the land moved 40 feet, and in 30 years, over 130 homes were destroyed. 2 other landslides are at Abalone Cove and Klondike Canyon. We'll have to do another episode just on the landslides. Being here in the Portuguese Bend Reserve, right where Crenshaw was being cut that started the landslide, is a good place to introduce another way the peninsula has maintained its open space. For that, we thank concerned citizens led by Bill Ayler and his vision for the Palos Verdes Peninsula Land Conservancy, which started in 1988. In its last 30-plus years, by working with the 4 cities, private landowners, and developers, with gifts and donations, the Conservancy has successfully preserved 1,600 acres of open space, or 10% of the peninsula's total acreage. It has also restored habitat for 2 butterfly species and 2 bird species. Here is Bill in his oral history.
Well, I mean, where else in LA can you sit out and with a view over the Pacific like that and watch hawks fly and have butterflies around and experience that kind of quiet? It's an uplifting experience.
Indeed, Bill Ayler, indeed. Almost 100 years from its beginnings, Charles Cheney's sense of open space lives on, and the peninsula is truly one of LA County's beauty spots enjoyed by all. Like, follow, share, subscribe, and join us for more Peninsula history on our next Pedal PV show. Until then, take care, stay safe, and stay healthy.